Hello everyone, I am Prankur Gupta and today we are going to understand 1D arrays. 1D array means one-dimensional arrays arranging in one-dimensional form. Now what are arrays? Arrays is a collection of homogeneous data elements. It means that if we have some data elements and we want the collection of them, so we can store them in an array. But these all elements needs to be of only one type. Either it can be of integer type, either it can be of any other data type. Okay, so it can contain only similar data type elements. Okay, so let us see how to declare an array, how to give memory to an array, and how to populate an array. Now before telling you how to declare performing these operations, let me tell you that an array is a reference data type. By reference data type we are already aware about that how to instantiate an reference data type. Like classes are reference data type and we create objects of them. Similarly here we have to create the object of an array using new keyword. Okay, first we have to declare an array. Now declarations means we are just creating a reference which will have by default null. Now as we can see in as we have seen also in declaration of objects also, that at the point of declaration by default a null is present. Now after instantiating, after giving memory to that object, it start pointing to some object which is present in heap. So similarly in array, first a reference will be created at the time of declaration which will contain null value, and after that we instantiated giving after we give memory to an array, it will start pointing to an object. Okay, now let us see how. First we have to declare an array. In declaration first we have to specify the type. By type we means that what type of data we are going to store in an array, like integer type, float type, char type, string type, or any reference data type. It can be of any type. Okay, now first we have to specify here the type, and after that we have to specify the name of the reference. A reference is a variable which will point to the object of integers which is present at heap. Okay, now it is just a declaration, so here we will just create a reference which will in future will point to some integer elements. So initially by default it will have null value. Now in the example you can see that here that I have created a reference of integer type. Now we can also declare it like this. Now parenthesis can be before the reference and after the reference. Now let us see how to give memory to an array. To give a memory to an array, we have to first specify the name of an array which is a reference, and after that we have to specify the type using new keyword, and after that here we have to specify the size of the array. Size of the array means number of elements that we want to store in an array. Okay, this means the size of the array. Now here you can see in the example that age is equals to new int 5. It means that it is actually saying that to give memory to 5 integer data elements in heap. As you can see here also, first we have declared an array. While declaring, it just create a reference in stack and initialize it with null, and after instantiating it, means after giving memory to it, actually it creates 5 integer data elements which by default have null 0 values. 0 values because we have created an array of integer type, and all these memory locations can contain integer data, and the default value of integers are 0 because we have not initialized these variables. We have just give the memory to these memory locations. So basically by default they will have 0 value. Okay, now in next slide we will see how to populate, how to actually giving basically how to give value to these variables. Okay, now we can also declare and give memory in just a single statement. Now you can see here I have declared an array, and along with that I am also initializing an array. Okay, so basically it is doing declaration and memory allocation at the single statement. Now let us see how to populate an array. To populate an array means we have to give values to our memory locations. Now indexing of array starts from 0. So basically a of 0 means first element, a of 1 means second element, and so on. So here I have just created an array of 5 integers, and a of 0 I am giving value to first element as 10, second element as 20, third as 30, fourth as 40, and fifth as 50. This is one way to populate an array. Another way to populate an array is at the time of declaration. While I am declaring an array, I can specify the values. It can be any. I mean, there is no count of values that you can give here. It will create dynamically these memory locations and give value to it. Okay, it is another way to populate an array. Another way to populate an array is getting input from user. We know that br.readline is used to input from user, and it will give a string, and we can convert it to integer because we have an array of integer type. And after converting it to integer, now we have an integer value. We want to store it in our memory location. To store it in our memory location, we are running a loop from 0 to 5. So first the value of I is 0, so there will have a of 0. We know that a of 0 is our first memory location, and we can assign it a value which we have get from a user. Okay, now similarly again the loop will run. Now it will have a of 1. Now a of 1 is second memory location, so it will get again value from user, and it will store that value in a of 1 memory location. Okay, in this way we will initialize all our members of the array. Now how to calculate the size of an array? To calculate the size of an array, we have a variable, final variable length. Using this, we can calculate the length of the variable. Length means the size means the number of elements in our array. So basically, if we are initializing our array with 5 elements, so we will get the output 5. If we are initializing, or you can say specifying the size of the array as 10, then we will get output 10. Okay, as you can see here. But this is a final variable. We can't change the value of this length variable. Length is a final variable. We can't change its value. If we're trying to write this statement, then it will give us compilation error. So that is how we can populate an array, and we can calculate the size of an array. Now let us see guys how to traverse an array. Traversing means that accessing each element of an array. Okay, while traversing, I am printing the value of each variable. Okay, here I have declared and initialize an array with 5 elements, and I want to print all these elements. To print all these elements, I have run a loop from 0 to a dot length, less than a dot length. Why less than? Because it is basically starting from 0, so we can't run a loop till a dot length. We have to stop before a dot length because we are running a loop from 0. Okay, so inside that, we know that the value of I is 0, so it will print a of 0. What is a of 0? 10. Again it will come to the start of the loop, and now the value of I will become 1. Now here a of 1 is 20, so it will print 20. It will keep on doing this and print all the values of an array, and when the value of I will become 6, it will come out of the loop. Okay, now let us see some other problems here. If we in C++, if we try to access a memory location out of the range of an array, then what was happen? Actually, then it give us some garbage value. If we if we try to run this program, or you can say this small program in C++ compiler, it will give us some garbage values. But here it will give us array index out of bound exception if we try to access some memory location outside the range of an array. Here we know that. Now what does it mean? Let us see. Actually here, if you see, we have elements, 5 elements, and we want to print them. Okay, now to print them, we know that we have to run the loop 0 and less than a dot length. But here I am running loop till 19. Now 19, we know that we have 5 elements. So what it will do after 5 elements? What it will print after 5 elements? Because our size is 5 elements, the size of array is 5 elements. So when the value of I will become 6, what it will print? Actually, it will run smoothly till the value of I till the value of I is equals to 5. But when the value of I will become 6, what it will do? It will give us array index out of bound exception. Why? Because there is no index in this array after 5. Okay, so basically it will give us array index out of bound exception. Now let us see some other problem. Here I have just declared an array. I have not given memory to the memory to some integers. Now here I have just declared a variable, or you can say reference. Now if I try to print the value of a of 0, we know that we have not instantiate and initialize our variable. So how it will print us a of 0? We know that the default value of integers are 0, but we have not given memory to our array. Here we have not given memory to our array. So how to print a of 0? It is not, this reference is not pointing to any object in heap. So how it will print a of 0? So it will give us null pointer exception, because by default this reference will have null value. Okay, so basically it will print us null pointer exception. Now we know that by default all the integers have 0 value. So if we do not initialize our data members, or you can say all the elements of an array, so it will by default give us 0 value for all the integers. Okay, here I am just trying to print all the values of my integers in an array. So it will give us 0 0 0 0 0, because we have 5 elements in an array and all are initialized with 0 value. So it will give us 0 value for all elements. Now let us see a program. Here I am trying to find largest element in an array. Now to find the largest element in an array, here first I am trying to get input from user using this for loop. Okay, now I am just giving a message to a user to enter 10 elements, and after that I am running a loop which I have seen that to get input from user, br.readline will give a string, and we are converting it into integer, and after that we are giving this value to our memory location of an array. Now we know if user enter these 10 elements, and after that we are assuming that our largest element is 12. We are just assuming that our largest element is 12. Now we will keep on comparing it with other elements, and if we find some element greater than this our larger element, then we will assign this larger element to that variable. Now let us see with the help of example. Here first I have run a loop from to all the variables. Here I have just running a loop. Now inside this loop, if we are at this 0 index at 12. Now if a of I is greater than large, then large is equals to a of I. What does it mean? It means that if the element where I am, actually right now I am at 12. Now if 12 is greater than large, what is large? Large is also 12. If 12 is greater than 12, then enter into this block. Now we know that 12 is not greater than 12, it is equals to 12. So it will not goes into this block, so it will just come at the start of the loop. Now the value of I will increment, and the value of I will now become 56. Now we know that 56 is greater than 12, because 12 is our large element that we have assumed. Now 56 is greater than our largest element, so large will become 56. Now our large is 56. Now we will keep on doing this, and we will find, at last we will find our largest element. Okay, so after finding our largest element, we will, after coming out of this loop, we will print it out. You can see in the output also, out of these all elements our largest element is 98. Okay, now we will keep on comparing our largest element with the ith index element, and if we find that our ith index element is greater than our largest element, then we will actually set our largest element as ith element. Okay, so after coming out of this loop, we will get our largest element. I hope guys you get the clear idea how this program will work. If you like my video, then don't forget to follow and share this video. This is my Unacademy profiling. Thank you guys.